US-China relations are at a very dangerous stage. And what I fear is that the two powers are sleepwalking towards a major conflict. They will sleepwalk into a war that neither side wants. Speaker Pelosi visited Taiwan, and it was seen to be a provocative act. It was an act which broke the former rules. China could not retaliate. And in that sense, when China reacted and retaliated, I would say it was a cautious retaliation. It was a thought-out retaliation because China does not want to provoke a war between China and the United States. And China has always been a careful and cautious player. What did China do? China started the military action after Nancy Pelosi left Taiwan. That's one. Military drills and a military exercise is not war. The US Navy has not reacted either. They have not come into the region. So each side knows what is happening. It's like a kabuki. US-China relations are at a very dangerous stage where, a mistake could be made, miscalculation, and it could lead to war. And what I fear is that the two powers are sleepwalking towards a major conflict. Neither side wants war. They will sleepwalk into a war that neither side wants. Because the hands are forced. It's all about face. Every side has to keep face. China cannot lose face. US cannot lose face. Nancy Pelosi felt she couldn't lose face either. And what China has said is Taiwan is my red line. Do not cross the red line. And I have said before, the United States should not underestimate what a red line for China means. A red line is a red line. It is not a pink line and it is not no line. And China should not underestimate how powerful the US still is, in terms of its military might and its capacity. I think China sees the United States as a declining power. But it is only in relative decline because China is coming up. The economy is still doing strong, going well, and the way it has reacted and mobilized countries for the Ukraine war, the swiftness with which the United States acted and mobilized the NATO allies and European countries, and the fact that it was able to impose very wide-ranging sanctions, it was something that surprised, I think, everybody. Shows that it is still quite a strong player and leader on the global stage. For China, China is a cautious power. It's not reckless. And it would have seen what sanctions can do. Russia had money, reserves, but suddenly all that money was locked up. I think it's taking the lessons of that very carefully. And China would be thinking about how it can overcome some of those obstacles. So I hope both sides do not underestimate, each other's serious intentions. The US-China relationship is going to be a very difficult relationship for many years. And the US-China relationship will get harder and harder to try to reach a level where both sides can arrive at some serious level of cooperation, I think, with the tension being so high. The one good thing that I would observe in this very gloomy international situation over the cross-straits is that the United States and China are continuing in their engagement. One possibility, which is remote but possible, is that this visit by Nancy Pelosi, may cause China and the United States to sit down to seriously talk about how to put up guardrails to manage this strategic conflict. But really, what is at the base of that, the competition, is that the United States and China are, I think, locked in a competition to see who will dominate, who will be the dominant power in the world. The United States has been the dominant power since World War II globally, and China is now a rising power. And the United States see China as a challenge to its dominance. That is at the heart of the US-China relationship and has been at the heart of the relationship creating the tensions. I think they're trying to sort out their policy on China. Secretary Blinken actually laid out his policy, but even within that policy, there was some contradiction. They want to engage China, but I think there were elements of containment. But President Biden has only been in office for a year and a half. And quite often in the United States, I have seen that the China policy doesn't get righted or is not quite coherent till 3/4 through or even after one administration. And the second administration gets it. But I would say now the Asia policy is coming together and is more coherent. And the Asia policy is to counter China, but it wants to work with China. So that is coherent. But there is no full agreement between Senate and the administration and the White House. But what we really want to say is, can the two great powers not be so confrontational and not pursue your competition to the level which really impacts on the peace and stability for all of us and prosperity for all of us?